In the name of Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Father God, thank you for being the kind of God who hears and answers prayers, for being who you are and how you are. You are the God of love, life, joy, and peace. Please, God, forgive me for my sins, known or unknown. And please, God, bless this message. Let it be your words and not mine. And God, keep the evil one, the hater, the liar, the thief, and the destroyer away from me and anybody who hears or watches this message. Amen. In the name of Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. God bless. Mark Anthony DiBello. Today's December 29th, 2025. I've taken a different angle. If I have to post a pic of the last messages that I call a life update with regards to the life and death of my poor deceased daddy, and even in some ways my mom, who died October 17th, 1982. But I'm going to keep this message to 40 minutes or less, only because I know that's the storage space on my phone here that I'm recording it. And I left some space up here in case I use an insert, which I think I'm going to use one in particular, or put a picture up there. But this is the end of the month message, even though it's not quite the end of the month. But I've had 3 or 4 updates in the last month regards to investigating the death of my daddy and the use and abuse and the gaslighting and grooming that happened to him, and the quote unquote the family and the cult like control and situation that has burdened him and me. So again, I'll get to the updates. But I have to just stay focused because I've already recorded this message a couple of times, and it's Monday night, which is, to me, my Friday, if you will, after a 96-hour work week, basically, and tomorrow's my one day off a week of running my ministry, my nonprofit. Again, I don't work for money necessarily, in a sense. I work for God, and I do run a nonprofit, and it's a ministry, and I've studied things, like I said, abuse and gaslighting and grooming and cults for decades, okay? And the criminality of what's happened to my daddy and me is just, it's inconceivable how these people will trust another person and disbelieve my dad and I. And again, I have a preponderance of evidence. So either they're, like I said, they're just they're supportive of it because they're also trying to make money or tried to make money off my dad, or they're just ignorant and unintelligent, or just completely ungodly and evil, or they've been groomed and gaslighted themselves, and got caught up in the lies and the deception that this person who was with my father committed, which is quite evident if you go to my website. You just click on the projects page, click on the tab or the link for a cult of one, which is now a cult of none. I mean, I don't want to know what else more you need to hear and witness and see for yourself. Again, I have 700 other messages that haven't been played, and I have the 6 recordings that I overheard, and one of which is on there. And I'm now getting back some of my computer storage units that I hope have some of the recorded messages. But I'll put my hand on a Bible to what I'm testifying here. I'll take a lie detector test. There's evidence actually with the police of domestic abuse reports filed. You don't have to look much farther than, again, in this life update. See how my dad's life was before he met this person and how his life was after he met this person. That's all you need to know. Okay? Other than that, is all the evidence that I have. And again, I'll give these 3 or 4 updates. But with regards to me, just so people know, there's 2 things that have really come into play here. And I've had them for, since I probably, became my most spiritual. And that is, one is my curse is that I will get the worst of everybody. I will get their evil. If you're a liar, you'll lie to me. If you're a thief, you'll steal from me. If you're a fraudster, you'll commit fraud against me. If you're a killer, you'll try to murder me. I mean, I get the worst of everybody's evil, which I knew this was going to happen with my dad and this person, because I had warned him, when he first met her. I said, Dad, it's obvious she's a gold digger. It's obvious she's after you for money. She's got no personality, no talent. She's just going to use you and abuse you. And sure enough, it became just that way. You're going to die broke and homeless, and you're going to be, depressed, and it's going to be the worst tragedy in your life and the biggest mistake you ever made. And he agreed with that, and I'll get to that. So that's the first thing I have to endure, is everybody's curse, including those who you would think were, quote unquote family, who were closest to him, or my mom before him, who died October 17th, 1982, my beloved mom, Dorothy Burek DiBello, or even me, their firstborn child, who happens to be, I can guarantee in their lives, the godliest person, the most talented, most blessed, the hardest working, the most truthful, the one who, if I don't come out right, if I'm not born of my mother, would look like to be a good, blessed, godly child. They don't have these children after me. But again, it's not just to the children. There's other family members and, extended family and friends and probably even coworkers who just, in a sense, betrayed and rejected my dad and disrespected and dishonored him and even me. So that's the curse part is number one. Number two is people, I get their lies. They're, the devil's a liar. I've told this before, three versions of it. Basically, one is you just kind of tell a flat out lie. I'm holding up 4 fingers and a thumb. No, you're holding up, 10 fingers. That's a lie. Okay. Or you're just wrong. The second version is when it looks like you think you're hearing the truth or you're reading or seeing the truth, and it's just really deceptive. It's hard really to tell. That's why it's deceptive. You think you see one thing and it's a mirage. It's really something else. That's a lie. And the third is if somebody, in this case, me, with regards to this incident, this case, or these incidences, my life, my dad's life, my mom's life, what happened to him is I tell the truth and somebody disbelieves me. Nope, you're lying, Mark. Mark, when's your birthday? December 18th. No, it's not. Mark, did you really hear your father say that? Yes, I did. No, you didn't. Mark, did you really hear her do that to him? Yes, I did. No, you didn't. You know what I mean? Whatever I say, they're going to disbelieve it. Okay? That's just the evil in them. That's the devil deceiving them. Doesn't matter whether you're in a cult or you're just unintelligent or ungodly or you're just groomed and gaslighted yourself or, cultishly controlled yourself. You're just evil. You don't believe you're being possessed or the devil's just misleading you and you're not believing the truth that I'm telling. Now, again, it's not my opinion. I have evidence. You can go to that website. There's messages. There's paperwork. I mean, you can look at common sense. I mean, evidence. I mean, what did my dad have when he, before he met my mom? Had nothing, built up everything. My mom dies. What does he have afterward? Nothing. Okay? Was that person good for him? Was that person bad for him? Did that person really care for him? Did he help him? Did she help him? Did she love him like I'm going to love him, his firstborn son? But did I love him for money? Did I make money off of him? Did I lie to him? Did I threaten him? Did I throw a knife at him? Did I beat him up? Did he want to get away from me? Did he want to divorce me? Did I have his son falsely arrested 3 times? Did I lie? Did I have other life insurance policies, other secret post office boxes? Did I spend his money? Did I live a lavish lifestyle? Did I go through one home, a rental home in East Greenbush, and then a rental home, I bought in my own name in Schenectady? I don't own a home. I don't have a car. My dad wasn't crying to leave me. I didn't leave my dad in a home where he could have burned down. I didn't have adulterous affairs like my dad alleged this person did or was doing. I didn't leave my dad to go on vacation. I didn't go out to meet other rich people at Proctor's Theater, all these other things. I didn't fight with him. I didn't break his ribs. I didn't bloody his nose. I didn't tell him he couldn't play football games or horse racing like he loved to do. I didn't fight with him. Nobody had to call to get a domestic protection order against me and my dad. Of course, she did. She lied about it, but I've told that story. So again, here's the story. So I mean, just those 2 things you need to understand. That's just, sort of like the perspective that you have. I have to endure through this, but mostly it was what happened to my daddy. Okay. My mom dies. She wants to meet, quote unquote, the wealthy widower, deceives him to gain access to his office. His second son, Joseph, atheistic, money lover, bad judge of people, ungodly, power, control freak. Gives her a job. She's my father's secretary. Has done nothing but make money ever since the rest of my father's days. Short time into their quote-unquote marriage, I asked to borrow a truck. She's right next to me. My father says, sure, take the red truck, son. The keys are right there. I take the truck. Call my father the next morning. She's either eavesdropping, makes him tell her, does something that the police pull me over, arrest me, 6 days. I'm like, why are you arresting me? Well, Anthony DiBello reported that you stole a truck. Really? I stole the truck. My father lent me the keys to a truck on his property. I stole it. 6 days in jail. Get out of jail, ask her, do you want to apologize for having me falsely arrested? And I can't use the language she used, but this is the words. Effing no. She used that word. Effing no. You and your effing father need to effing know I'm in control. I'm not letting you or him effing get away from, with this. I'm going to effing own this all, and if I need to do this again, I will effing do it again. You mean lie and have me falsely arrested? Anything to make money. And my dad finally agreed later when he found out, literally dead broke, that he was only being used and abused. Again, it all started short time after my mother died. Gaslighted, groomed, brainwashed, manipulated, used, abused, deceived, defrauded, you name it. After that wedding episode, after that stolen truck episode, father invites me, I posted the video of Bingo City on YouTube. This relates to the 3 or 4 updates I'm going to give. He says, Mark, you want to be involved? You're my firstborn son. I want you there. I said, Dad, she's involved. It'll end up in a disaster. She's going to do just what she does. It's going to cost you money. You're going to get in trouble. I don't want to be anywhere near it. I'm turning my life over to God. I'm going to be, do my ministry, which I'd already turned my life over to God. He couldn't have felt more disrespected or betrayed. Dad, I said, mark my words. I told you. I have the gift of prophecy. I'm very good at predicting things. You're going to lose it all with this human being. Just like it started when you took her in, or, she wanted to meet the quote unquote wealthy widower, she said, called herself a Christian in this Bible study in your office. He started losing it all. And sure enough, loses his office, loses his businesses, his publishing company, his automobiles, loses his clean criminal record, gets his only felony in Bingo City, told me, I have it on recording, Mark, some people, her in particular is who he meant, are sick when it comes to greed. Sick, literally sick when it comes to greed and money. I had to protect her. What else was I going to do? Of course, she tampered the paperwork or ignorantly screwed up the paperwork, or just as my father insinuated, embezzled. He alleged. Just saying, that's my dad. That's what he said. I have him on recording. Again, I'll put my hand on a Bible. You can listen to the recordings yourself. I'll put my, you can strap me up for a lie detector. But of course, misleads, and Joseph thinks it's something else, his second in command. It's the government's after us. They just all of a sudden came after us because they want to take over, and they're just falsely accusing us. Really? Okay. You think my dad told you everything? You think you knew everything? My dad was very creative. He worked hard. He tried to take advantage of every rule he could. If he crossed the line, he corrected himself. He apologized. He made up for it. But this was pretty obvious. Again, I have his recordings. I'm getting more recordings as, months go by. It's a slow process. But again, I still have 700 messages of my father's unplayed. I have conversations, at least 700 between he and I. I have paperwork, documentation. Again, 3 or 4 updates now that I found with more documentation. But again, you can look at my Bingo City video. Just go on my YouTube. This relates to one of the updates. There's a police report there in East Greenbush where he had called me up just moments before the police were called. Mark, she grabbed the phone out of my hands. I've heard her throw knives at him. He said she did, and I heard it myself. I heard a phone call trying to find a recording for it. And I'm paraphrasing here. He dialed me by accident. Her to him, rattling a knife or knives in the kitchen. Sit the F down and shut the F up. You're not effing getting fed. I'm not effing giving you 200 of my effing dollars to play the horses or the effing football. You sit the F down or you know what's going to effing happen to you. You're lucky I don't effing throw you in a mental institution. You're lucky I effing feed you. Don't you ever effing ask me for my effing money again. Really? That's how you talk to this man? 90-year-old, 89-year-old at the time, I guess, Korean War veteran who gave this person everything. Like I said, listen to the other message. You're so GD cheap, you don't effing contribute for everything. Tell me where your last Social Security account is. Really? He's down to a Social Security. She's battering and badgering him for his final Social Security check. He called me begging me, Mark, you got to call Social Security for me. I got to get my check. Do you understand? I can't get a root beer. I can't get a glass of water, buy a bottle of water. I can't go to the lottery, to the dollar store and buy a lottery ticket, or to the the corner market. She takes money out of my Bible. She's got a private P.O. box. She's taking out life insurance policies. I got to beg. I can't eat what I want. She goes everywhere, does everything. You listen to him himself. And her, still, you're cheap. Really? The guy was a multimillionaire. He had this much money before he met her. She had this much. At the time that the conversation happened, he has this much and she's got this much. She owns her own home. My father died. He was homeless. He didn't have a home. She has a car. He died without a car. I never had a home, and I haven't had a car in 20 years. She has them. He had multiple cars, multiple businesses. Doesn't have those. I don't have a felony on my record. He does, protecting her. I was his firstborn child. She didn't bring him any children. I loved him. I was having recording things from 65 years ago. She tells me he has Alzheimer's. He's demented. He's insane. He's belongs in a mental institution. Really? But didn't let him go. So again, with these 3 or 4 updates, you know this. You know, I've said before this story. He wants to leave her. I heard her talk to him like that. I told me about getting a bloody nose. I heard about the broken ribs. She said he just fell because he was attacking her or tried to get her while she was sleeping in bed. The police reports on Bingo City. Nope, that's not the conversation I heard by accident beforehand. That's not what he called me up and told me. But of course, he can't say everything in front of her because he's got, there's going to be repercussions. When you live with an abuser, and that's the situation, when you're groomed and gaslighted, and those, around him, like his quote-unquote family, again, who felt totally disrespected by, rejected, betrayed. It's like, Mark, they won't believe you or me. They believe her. She's got them all scared and fooled. All she does is make money on me. He sold 5 property, he's parceled out his property. He's home for 600 something thousand. One of the properties parcels for like 250K. This is in the newspaper. It's not, the Times Union, of record. Another one for 60, I think another one for 90. Tried to sell a 5th. She wanted him to sell $1 million. He said, Mark, she took it. She either spent it living lavishly, she hid it from me, she wouldn't let me spend it, or I had to spend it to afford her lifestyle or just to live. Then she asked his millionaire son, Joseph, who was, totally ungodly, believed in her. He's like, Mark, Joey thinks she walks on water. Tell him, I'm not getting the money he's sending. She's not letting me have it. I've got to beg, to get a popsicle. And I heard it. I got the records. But again, falsely accuses me. Falsely has me arrested, takes out this false protection order because my father says, Mark, I'm tired of the abuse. I'm tired of getting beaten up. I want to leave. I want to divorce her. I want to get half my stuff back through this thing he found called citicism. I don't know, some legal thing. He'd been to lawyers on his own all before I even got in touch with him again. I won't get into that whole story, but he called me, begged me. He said, Mark, you got to help me. Nobody else will help me. Nobody believes me. So when he cried out to saying what was happening, there was only 3 things that could have been, with all these stories. The bloody nose, he felt he was being poisoned, by her and her daughter, he alleged, because they were over-medicating, which, I know they were, because he read all his medications to me. The violence, there were multiple police reports. This is an obvious domestically abusive household. It's not hard to find. The way she spoke with him, from your heart, comes your words, your actions. You don't talk to people that way if you love, revere them, and you're taking good care of them. She's not a professional caregiver. She's not a professional at that. She didn't say, I'm the loving wife and I don't want to lose my husband, I'll be torn to pieces. No, I'm the caregiver and Mark wants his father to leave me. That's what her protection order said, full of fraud. No, Mark's father called Mark saying, Mark, you got to help me get away from her. She's going to kill me. Not only is she beating me up, but now I believe I have evidence she did the same thing to her first husband and profited off of life insurances from him. And of course is collecting my Social Security. I don't get it. Called me, but Mark, you got to help me get my Social Security check. I send it to the bank. She gets it. You have it sent to my mail. She gets the mail. I can't even get my Social Security check. So he calls up and begs me. He said, Dad, sure. And I said the story before. Let's just get you out of there. He goes, no, I want a divorce. He says, Dad, she's going to be, and sure enough, she wasn't going to allow that to happen. Takes out this false and fraudulent, protection order full of fraud in it, full of lies. So she can isolate him, make sure she doesn't lose his last name, which was her only, form of identity in a sense. The only thing, she had influence and gained her power, especially in the town of East Greenbush, which this relates to, which, like I said, where Bingo City is, and these one of these 3 or 4 updates that I give you. And of course, for the life insurance, for the Social Security benefits, for the pride of it, all the other, business things. Again, he's losing money. He's losing money. She's making money. He's losing money, and her treatment of him gets worse and worse and worse. What does that tell you? I didn't love my dad based on how much money he had. I never threatened him. I wasn't spousally abusive to him. I didn't throw knives at him. I didn't tell him he was mentally ill. I didn't love him for money. I didn't make money off of him. I got $400 from my father in the last 25 years. And that was airfare he sent me to help me get him away from her. To help her get him get away from her. He begged me. And I even gave it back to him when I saw him. Really? That's why I wanted to be with my father. That's why I wanted to help him. And these, especially his own children, well, she takes good care of him. Really? Oh, yeah, she took care of his house, made sure he didn't have that, his cars, his fragmented mind, his clean criminal record, his family, birthed him no children, divided his family, took all his money, took all his belongings, wouldn't let him drive, took his cars, cost him at Bingo City, had his son falsely arrested 3 times. Yeah, she's good for him. Nice girl. Bloody nose, broken ribs, and the point of his dying, again, and I told this before I give these updates, I know because my father, I was his biographer, I was his confidant, I was his minister, I'm his firstborn son, and his best friend. They fought on Friday nights because that's when she finally came home. She'd give him a plate of food in the morning. When she moved, he had to sell his home, those parceled properties. He even had to rent the upstairs bedrooms, all money she was making. He trusted her with it. She put it aside in the bank for her, not for him. Spent a small portion on him and her, lived her lavish lifestyle while he was living like just on, a meager, normal, simple life while she's going all these different places. Vacationing with her sister, again, that my father couldn't stand, again, according to him, having, an extramarital affair, chasing down rich people at Proctor's Theater, spending his money, taking her little odd jobs, last 2 weeks, doing whatever. So my father said, Mark, you got to help me, you got to help me get away from her. So moves him out of, his home of 50 years to East Greenbush. My father goes to the police chief more than once. Mark, you got to get, I told the police chief, not only am I afraid, is she abusing me, but I'm afraid she's going to kill me. And I think I have evidence, or I had evidence, that she killed her first husband. Police chief gets a call from Joseph DiBello. Your father's here. What do I do? I didn't know Joseph DiBello was the chief of police, but he's friends with her husband. So rather than this police chief do her duty, she's derelict in her duty, turns the other cheek and determines, you two leave town, don't come back, and I'll turn a blind eye to this. Really? Turn a blind eye to neglect, abuse, criminality, possible murder, a threat of murder, according to my dad? Really? Why don't you do your job? His life could have been saved. No. But again, now that's one part of the story. So now he's got to move to Schenectady, where of course she buys the house in her name. He's not on it. Her money, his money that she used. Won't even, he's got to be like a prisoner in that house. No car. Becomes suicidal. Mark, she's abusing me so bad, I want to kill myself. I know, Dad. I got to talk him down every day practically. I'm gonna put my head through the window here, the sliding glass door. I'm gonna take my scooter out to the street and get run over, or I'm gonna take one of these knives the next time she points it at me and throws it at me, and I'm gonna slit my own throat. My dad was never suicidal. That's what happens when you live in an abusive household. But of course, she puts on a different face for his family, and especially Joseph, because Joseph is now a multimillionaire. Why wouldn't she kiss his ass, lie to him? And he's so ungodly. He loves money. Don't call. I'll just send you a check. Or you want to come down here? Sure. Free trip to Florida. Of course she's going to be nice for that. Of course she's going to be nice to Joseph. He's got more money than my father. He's nice to her. But you tell the truth like me. You believe in God like me. You protect the abused like me. You don't get that treatment. Of course, I sent my dad $5,000. He never got that. He's got to hide $500. I sent him in a Bible. She takes it from him. Then she files a protection order. Says Mark's going to get his father in trouble. He's jeopardizing. His father. Mark's giving away free stock advice, sending his father free money. She kept the money. He's making bets for his father. She didn't have a problem taking the money. But Mark's getting his father in trouble. He has to remember he's got a felony from Bingo City. Yeah, Bingo City. The one where my father told me he did it. He took the felony to protect her. because she either ignorantly or purposely screwed with the paperwork and or embezzled, according to my dad, the money or portions of the money. But of course, Joseph, he doesn't know that. To Joseph, oh, it's the government. Oh, the attorney general and the son Joe Bruno's son wants to take over our bingo, so they're falsely interrogating, investigating us and doing whatever. Really? You think my father told you everything? You don't think he was protecting you also? And you know he was protecting Joe. Not that Joseph will get this message, but part of the update relates to him. So that's why I'm giving this background, this backstory. So again, that's another I told my dad, Dad, I'm not going to be involved in anything she's involved in. She's evil, Dad. She's just using you and abusing you for money. You're going to lose everything one day. You know I have the gift of prophecy. You know I predict things. Dad, this is pretty much common sense. It's a gold digger situation, 21 years younger than you. I mean, why do you think she's with you? I mean, come on, Dad, you're losing everything. Can't you see it? So finally he saw it when the knives got thrown, when I heard the conversations, his nose bloodied, his ribs broken, police are being called. She's leaving him all alone during the week, gives him a plate of food in the morning, comes back at night, does her own thing. He said to me, quote unquote, Mark, there's no love in this house, only her love of money. He's afraid for his life. So again, when he tells these stories about how her husband died, and these are the updates I'm going to give, either one of three things. Either, because my father said, all these, unscrupulous, immoral, ungodly, even criminal things she was doing, he alleged. And like I said, I have evidence of, witnessed, listened to myself, documentation. I'm gathering all of it. I gathered a lot of it. I still haven't played 700 messages from my poor daddy crying for help or other things related to this. But again, one of three things. Either one, he was totally demented, delusional, insane, or a mental case. And he was none of that. Of course, she wanted him to think that. She wanted others to think that so she could have a reason to keep giving him care, taking his money, not having him leave her, although she threatened him, and I heard her, with a mental institution, threatened him with homelessness, threatened to kick him out, threatened he could live somewhere else, threatened he wasn't going to eat, he wasn't going to be fed. But my father was none of those things. Look at the promoter recording. He told me, he's 90 years old or 89. He's talking about things when he was 19. That's not mentally ill. That's not Alzheimer's. None of that. Secondly, he might have been embellishing or exaggerating. Do you know why? He asked anybody and everybody he knew, help me. I want to just leave her. Help me. I'm being terrorized, brutalized, mistreated, abused. Even when he wasn't talking, I hadn't been talking to him. But nobody believed him, not even his own children, who dishonored him, disrespected him, disbelieved him, and fell for her, either because they're ungodly, they were, using him also for money, or they're just ignorant, or they're also being gaslighted, groomed, and cultishly, misled in the family, the cult family. So what you do is when you say, hey, you know what, the crimes, the sin, the victimization of me is at a level 1, but none of you are believing me. So I'm going to have to tell you it's level 2, level 3, level 4, till somebody does something. So when he told me that, her husband didn't die in an accident, that it was a gunshot, that she did it, alleged my father to him for the insurance money, of course I've got to investigate. I'm thinking, well, Dad, and I never knew my father to lie to me. So I'm like, well, he's, I know he's not mentally ill. He might be exaggerating. He's just crying for help. It's an emotional cry for help. He thinks that's what's going to happen to him because that's what happens with abuse. The abuse cases only end in one of three ways. You either kill the person who abuses you, the abuser kills you like she would kill my father, or you want to kill yourself. Like my dad, like I said. He wanted to go through the sliding glass door and kill himself, which he never wanted to do. I had to talk him down from doing that multiple times. Or he wanted to take his mobility scooter and get run over in the middle of the road. Or when she was throwing a knife at him, he said, Mark, I'm going to take the knife she throws at me, and I'm going to slit my own throat. My own daddy had to cry that out to me to get away from this person, this abuser, this person who was terrorizing and brutalizing him mentally, emotionally, and then physically, which I encountered and witnessed with the bloody nose, the broken ribs, all of these things, the knife throwing, the berating him. So he's like, Mark, you know what? Now I think I have evidence she actually did it to her first husband, killed him for money and life insurance policies. Like I know she's taking out multiple life insurance policies against me. Oh, shoot. Sorry, low battery. I can keep going. Okay, I can't go. I've only got 10 more minutes. So, and his Social Security, which again, he told me, Mark, I need your help. She takes the check or she takes it from the bank. You got to switch it up so she doesn't get it. Sure, Dad, I'll do that for you. Mark, can you please send me, make a bet for me? She won't let me. She comes home on Friday night. I told you, I heard the conversation. But, again, Bible, lie detector, and this one, I think I have the recording. I hope I have it somewhere. Like you heard the recording that you can listen on, go click on projects on my page, my webpage, and go to, a cult of one or now a cult of none. Sit the F down. No, that's what she said, the message that you don't hear. Sit the F down, shut the F up. You're not getting my effing money. I'm not effing giving you $200. You're lucky I effing feed you. You're going to get a knife thrown at you again if you don't effing behave. This is my money. It's not your effing money. Shut the F up. Really? That's how you talk to him? Because he wants to play horses on a Saturday or football on a Sunday? And then the message you do hear where she says, you're so GD cheap, you don't contribute for everything. Really? The guy's an 89-year-old Korean War veteran. He's down to his Social Security, and you're still getting that. And she gets Social Security from her working with him when he was at Hospital News, his publicly held company. All he's done is given her his money. $1 million from his homes and properties, cars, businesses, Bingo City. She's gotten everything. All his belongings. But he's still GD cheap, really? So he's begging me, Mark, you got to help me get away from her. So again, if he's not if he's not demented or delusional, he's exaggerating. A cry for help. Or, as looks like 90% of the evidence to me, he's telling the truth. He was telling the truth. Again, people are either cursed, I get their curse, or they disbelieve. His own family, he couldn't have felt more disrespected, dishonored, rejected, or betrayed, just like me. Really? My father and I lie to you? Find a time where my father or I ever lied to you. Think of one. At least not for me in the 30 years. Maybe before that. Think of a time did my dad ever lie to you. Why does he want to leave her? What's wrong with leaving her? What's wrong with divorcing her? It's not a crime. He just wanted, what? He wanted to be with me? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with, being safe, not feeling you're going to get killed and being happy? Is that a crime? Should I have been falsely jailed 3 times because my dad wanted help? Why? Do I love him for money? I had his name from birth. Do you think, well, you know what? I'm not going to be born, Dad. I don't think you have enough money. Don't give birth to me. Really? Who's more likely to have done that? Did I ever do what she did to him? Did I ever cost him his home? Did I berate him? Did I threaten him? Did I throw a knife at him? No, none of that. But of course, these people, like I said, they're her supporters. And many times play cases, the government. Of course the government's that way. In woke, blue, Democrat, female-run New York, of course the government's going to be that way. So now with regards to these updates. So I found out, again, about, I had to find out about the husband. How truthful my dad was being, again, because I heard these conversations. I witnessed a lot of this. I called the police myself for the domestic violence reports. My dad, I have got video of the bloody nose, the broken ribs. There got to be a police report, a hospital report at St. Peter's. So I got a report of when this husband died. Apparently he died in 1990, her husband, Joseph John Murphy. Now, but it didn't say how he died, or, I couldn't find that information until I finally got in touch with the newspaper, which records a lot of these things. Again, I had to get the recording of the property, where they list the parcels sold and things like that. So I finally got a newspaper report because, again, I was first told they weren't divorced. Then he was divorced. Then he died of, he was killed in an accident. It was a gun accident. He shot himself, even though he's a gun expert. Then my dad said she killed him. He had evidence. He alleged that he was alone with her. So the now what I've heard, and I wish my daddy were alive to ask him about it. I've got a newspaper article that says apparently this Joseph John Murphy died in 90, which is still the same as what the police report said, at age 38, which is incongruous, doesn't align with the age that the police report showed me, or that the police person said, but it could be that the newspaper's wrong. But apparently the guy died in a fire. His own home burned. He was a teacher, I guess, maybe a wrestling coach as well at Columbia High School, of all places, in 1990 or something. I never heard that at all. Now, I don't want to speculate because I'm unlike other people. I tell the truth. I want to tell the truth. I'm not going to make a false statement. But I don't know, died alone in a house fire. Was he sleeping? Did somebody burn down the house? Was it burned down to hide evidence? Was somebody with him before the house burned? Did somebody shoot him and then the house burned? I don't know. But again, was he divorced? Because I told my dad, I said, Dad, you shouldn't even marry her because she's divorced. I mean, that's in the Bible. Don't marry a divorced woman. That's because if they're willing to divorce the one husband, probably for money, because that's what ends up most divorces, they'll do the same to you. But in her case, it was the opposite. She didn't want to divorce him because she didn't want to lose the money. But either way, that's how this guy dies. Now, I have to look more into that and, find out the nature of that. And again, there's a lot of cover-ups going on. There's a lot of, hiding and sequestering things. And again, her supporters we're all against my dad, disbelieved him, and, or at least didn't help him. And he couldn't quite tell him everything, because if he spoke out while she was with him, he'd have ramifications. He's like, the old Mark, you don't have to live with her. And I heard these repercussions and ramifications. And again, they just chose her over me, essentially. They said, we'd rather see her be with him, collect all the money, take care of him live with her, than be with you, Mark. We don't want him to be happy. We don't want him to be with you. We don't want you to be happy. We agree with the protection order. We agree you're a danger to your father. We don't care if you're hurt. We don't care if he's hurt. We don't care if he's going to end up dying alone, because, again, they fought on Fridays. They fought on Saturday and Sunday. That's when he was taken to the hospital. He could have been, he didn't have to die from the thing that he had. He could have been hurt, sick, wounded, poisoned, beat up, alone, anything before he got rushed to that hospital in emergency. But of course, nobody wants to help. Nobody wants to investigate. Nobody wants to believe. I couldn't get an autopsy done. Police won't do anything. His own children protecting her. So that leads me up to these updates, these other two updates in the short time that I have left here. I got this box from one of her biggest supporters. Christmas, all I got was a card from my Aunt Mead, which is, okay, because that's the only card I got. I used to just get them from my daddy. But again, I told you that. She'd take the money out, it looked like, or just didn't send the card. My mother's sister, Helen, she ended up saying to me in person last time I saw her, Mark, I'd rather see you in jail than her in court. So I believe her. She was his wife. She's a great person. Okay, well, God forgive you. So you betrayed him. You betrayed me. You disrespected, rejected me. That's fine. I didn't expect it, but again, I finally got your evil, and you couldn't be more ungodly or wrong. But that's you want to go down that, you want to do that and say that to me, and distrust me and my dad, when God forgive you. So one of our other biggest is this person here, this Lisa DiBello. Again, the incidences I've had with this human being go back 30 years, all bad. Calls me up the day my father's dying, berates me, disrespects me, and says, oh, you should probably want to talk to your dad, you big loser, or something to that effect. He's dying. Oh, really? That's how you want to open that call, huh? Okay. Price is Right, I told you that. The park, locked in the park falsely, she blames me. Screws up with the car I helped her win on Price is Right, does some charity, blames me, gets false things written about me in this little rinky-dink Rhode Island publication about me. I got to stay, I want to stay at my uncle's house, my Uncle Joe, when he died, which the landlord gave me permission. No, you can't do that. We don't want you to do that, Mark. So I got to get arrested in the morning for drying my socks in the laundromat, because I have no place to stay in the middle of winter when my Uncle Joe died, because they're all against me staying at my uncle's house. Okay, uncle's apartment. Okay, that's fine. So the list goes on long with that person. So whatever this person sent, I'm not opening this. I don't trust it. It could be, God knows what it could be, protection or, false paperwork, whatever. I do know I sent this person pictures, I don't know, a year ago, 2 years ago, that I stored. Not a thank you, not a copy of them. I just spent $1,000 to get and the same thing with their brother Joseph, who I'll get to, this is the final update, who I sent newspaper articles to that I saved. Not a thank you, not a copy of them sent back to me. I broke a hard drive at the news of my father getting beaten up and him dying. I just had to spend $1,000 to get refurbished just to get some of this documentation back. And these pictures that I sent to this person here, and to articles to Joseph. But no, nothing. No, I'm sorry. No, are you okay? No, let me help. No, I don't want an ounce of your drama. You're a loser. This and that from both of them. So finally today, I get an email from this Joseph DiBello, who I've tried reaching out to for a year, moments after my dad died, and I'm up in New York. Again, not allowed to go to the funeral, going to get arrested. Nothing in a will, no will read to me, no belongings given to me, 3 pieces of paper, Xerox. That's what I get, really? That's what my father wanted me to have, right? No insurance, no nothing. No apology, no are you okay? No I'm sorry, no nothing. I don't want an ounce of your drama from Joe DiBello. You want to be my brother? No. Can I come to Florida? No. Can I be your brother in Florida? No. Joe, do you want to comment on Bingo City, this thing I'm doing that my dad wanted me to do? Telling that story. Do you want to comment on all these things? Nope. Don't contact me. No email, no phone. Ignoring. You're scum. You're a scam artist, a scumbag. Don't bother me. Leave me alone. But what I get today? An email. You've got 1 day, the email says. That's how you want to start an email? Okay. You've got 1 day. That sound nice to you? No. Menacing, threatening. You got 1 day to take down or stop posting these negative things about my friends on your ridiculous YouTube. Really? 350 videos, national television appearances, telling the truth about all the stuff that's in the paper, was documented on Bingo City, was one thing, or I'm going to take you out of my will. It's going to cost you at least $800,000. Really? Okay. So you want to throw financial bait at me to sequester me, keep me quiet, cover up all these crimes and sins. And by doing that, first of all, I have to die after you, which there's a likelihood that the way these people treat me is not going to happen. Dangling money, again, the god of money. Here's what you're going to lose this money if you don't take this down about my friends. Really? Your friends? These people who used me? Joe wants to be in this little weaselly guy, George. I want to make some money and do something nice for your brother. Mark, can you help me get Joe in the Hall of Fame, his high school Hall of Fame? Sure. Send him all the paperwork. No thank you. Nothing. No thanks. No. Get me in where I belong. Nope. You're not going in. We just want to get Joe in because we want to get his money. Okay. Threatened me at a poker game. I got pictures. That might be the one picture I put up. Played poker. Friendly game at my dad's house. This guy cheats the pot. This guy, George. Sitting next to this cop, Mayano, Joe's friends with. Bully, abusive, the 3 of them. This George always jealous of me. I didn't turn the other cheek. I understood that. Cheats the pot. George, you sure you want to take this outside? Threatens me. Really? You cheated a pot. I called you out on it, and then you want to take me outside and threaten to beat me up. Nice guy. And this Joe sends this email to George and me, I guess, because George doesn't like the way he's portrayed in this video, I guess. Really? I told the truth. I wrote a true story, a video, document. I gave Joseph a chance to comment. Do you want to add anything to this? Correct anything? No response. But now this is what I'm baited with. Well, I sent him a response. Of course, he said he wasn't going to read it. He probably never will, and I don't care. Because, you know what? I won't tell you what's in the response. But I'm telling the truth. I'm not going to be afraid. I'm not going to be bullied. I'm not going to be abused. I'm not going to be threatened. I'm not going to be mistreated fraudulently. I'm not going to sell my father out for money. I'm not going to sell myself out. Doing something, sell my soul for, I don't care if it's $80, 80 cents, or $800,000. You can't buy my soul and spirit. And my father told me his words, Marcus Aurelius, tell the truth, tell my story, and don't let her get away with it. I don't turn my back on abuse, crimes, injustice, theft, mistreatment, neglect, and perhaps much, much more to the nature that I'm still investigating of my father's demise and death. Died like a beaten dog, afraid, alone, essentially, with his tormentor there, and not his son. Kept out of the funeral, no will, all of that. Really? That's your first communication to me after his death. Well, second actually, after he said no drama. Okay, we'll see how that goes. And these friends Why do you think they're nice to this Joseph? Money. They gave him these friends growing up. They got to hang around with Joe, popular athlete, good-looking guy. Father had money. For the esteem of that. Sure, I'm sure they're loyal to him. Sure, I'm sure, Joe likes having... I know Joe. I know that person. But you don't think it's about... What do you think? It's about the money? I'm not selling my credibility or integrity for your money. You want anybody who knows him, you can relay that message to him. And these people, again, what would happen with this police chief? What happened to my dad? What happened to me? It's a lot easier, they say, to prove something civil, to win a case in civil court than it is in criminal court. The way I've been mistreated, you want to befriend me? You don't want to befriend me. You want something from me? Okay, we'll see. God forgive all of you. So those are basically the updates. Those are the updates. So this message gets cut short. It's because the time, the storage space is full. Excuse me. So again, I don't have anybody to appeal to. I talk to God. My God knows the truth. I know the truth. I live for God. I work for God. You can't buy my soul. Okay? I wish my dad, I know, should still be alive. I've got to celebrate my birthday, 65th birthday, December 18th, without my dad. He should still be alive. He could have died. He could have easily made it to 95, 100, the condition of life he lived. Never overweight, didn't drink, didn't do drugs, never smoked, always in good shape, took good care of himself, very health conscious, always made sure to eat properly and regularly. No Christmas. I got that one card from my Aunt Mary, which I appreciate, my Aunt Mead. Again, I asked her, Aunt Mead, I'd only want one thing. The same thing that God wants, the Catholic faith does, my mom wanted before she died, and my dad wanted and told me, is that I get to be buried next to my parents. I got to fight to know, because they'll be scorned, spiteful. The family will determine, Mark doesn't even get to be buried up here. The one with my father even tried to sell the grave plot. So I even said to my Aunt Mary, I said, Aunt Mary, will you please make sure, if you can, do anything for me? You don't have to send me money. You have to do anything. You don't have to pray for it. Just do one thing. If I die before you, can you please make sure I get buried next to my mom? Sure, Mark, you were her favorite. She would want that. And then she says to me, and I love my Aunt Mary, then she says to me, I'll make sure of that, Mark, but it's also okay if you get buried somewhere else. No, see, that's not okay. That's double-sided talk. And I told her that, but that's okay. I mean, it's not okay, but, like I said, I get everybody's evil. But I love my Aunt Mary, and God bless her. I love my Aunt Mead. Saintliest woman I know. Apart from that, certainly. And then, again, I told you what happened with my Aunt Helen, who was like my second mother. Says, Mark, you're gonna go mentally ill if you keep obsessing about this. What happened to your father? You gotta let it go. Really? You mean turn my back on crime? On immorality? On sin? On neglect, abuse of him, me? Being falsely arrested, really, without an apology from this person, doubling down on everything, with all her supporters, gang doing the same thing, the same supporters that said, Mark, falsely accused me. You're doing this to Aunt Helen. You're doing that to Aunt Helen. You got to leave Aunt Helen alone. Okay, well, I left Aunt Helen alone. I left her alone. Her husband dies. Her son dies. Son accused me falsely of something. Her father, her husband took me in, God bless, but then also kicked me out. What'd I ever do to my Aunt Helen? Can't think of anything. But of course, I loved her. She was my second mother for a lot of time. But then, so no, Aunt Helen, I can't mentally let this go. I'm losing sleep. I don't eat. I mean, I get nightmares. I lose jobs. I'm crippled for life with what happened to my dad and me. I watched, essentially, he was crucified. And I was there, the only one to try to work to defend him, and nobody would let me. And all of you are laughing and mocking, have a good time. That's okay what she did. She took good care of him. She took good care of him, made $1 million. It's okay. Took good care of him. And I told her, and she said, no, Mark, you deserve to be arrested. You got yourself arrested. And if I have to go to a court of law, I'll defend her, not you. She was his wife. Really? You're supposed to protect. She took a vow to protect to her sister Dorothy to protect Dorothy's family. Well, Dorothy's family began with Dorothy's husband first. Dorothy was deceased, and then their firstborn son. There'd be no family unless that was in order. But of course, I understand she's got to go help the other kids, and Joe's got money. I understand that, and Mark tells the truth. He's a revolutionary. He's a not he's an outsider. He's an eccentric, whatever. Okay, well, I said go to hell to the evil spirit and anybody who says anything to me that's ungodly, not to the person, but to the evil spirit in them. So, again, as this new year comes, this last message, that's the update. I wanted to be done with this. I thought I'd be done, but I'm not. I could never quit on my dad. I could never quit on God. Well, first, I could never quit on God, living a commandment-filled life of telling the truth and honoring my father and mother. Again, I commit sin now and then. I'm not perfect, but not when it comes to God and my mother. Not God necessarily, but when it comes to honoring my mother and father. And again, I tried to be the eldest son, but they let my father be destroyed. They have no problem letting me be destroyed. And they can all do their thing for money. I do things out of love for God and my dad. All right, well, that's about it. The battery's getting low. So, God bless, again, for my mom and dad, and this is the life update. Again, I won't quit. I can't quit on this until justice is served, and I'm not falsely accused or jailed again, or any time in the future. But that the perpetrators of all these, these alleged crimes, according to my dad, or sins, or ungodliness, they have to face the music, so to speak, the judgment. They'll have to answer to God in the end, but for now they're going to have to answer to the honor of my mom and dad and their memory, and to me. And I've turned the other cheek countless times. Not an apology. One apology in 30 years from his children, their children. Periodically, I'll get a friend to apologize that might have knew both my dad and I and my family, and that's good. I always forgive. But again, my dad was essentially crucified on Easter Sunday. As Jesus was getting, if you believe that Jesus getting off the cross, my dad was getting on it. And it's not hard to see the evidence and to know how it happened. And to know. And on last note, my aunt says, she cried so much at the funeral. I did something to somebody that was wrong, I don't know, about 3 weeks ago, and I felt so guilty I did it. I cried. More about just the guilt of doing it. Like I was kind of ashamed of myself. I said, geez, I'm guilty of doing that, and I cried. Not over mourning for the person or loss for the person or what I did to hurt the person, but the guilt conscience of it. So I want people to think, like, if this person was, again, I wasn't allowed at the funeral. I was going to be arrested. I should have went anyway. It's my dad. I take responsibility. I should have just went and let him arrest me. I mean, but nobody would have stood up for me anyway. But again, I know I can see this person crying at the funeral for the guilt of what happened that led to the death of my father, and not guilt over his loss, not mourning over his loss. Like I cried virtually every single day since he's been gone. No lie, every single day. I could cry, put it that way. I try not to every day, but I could cry every day and nightmares every day for what was done to my dad and what's being done to me, but more for my dad. So I know the truth, and God knows the truth, and I know. Anyway, I gotta go. The kitty's getting antsy over here, see? All right. This is the kitty boy. My dad loved critters. Of course, he was disallowed from having him from all the time he was with her because, like my dad said, Mark, they cost money. She doesn't want to give money, and I'm afraid to have him around her. I saw her kick little boy Nugget. It's like, Mark, she'll kill him. She can't be around animals. So my father, who loved critters, couldn't even have a little service animal or a friendly little animal. Tragic. All right. God bless. This is Mark Anthony DiBello and Kitty Boy. Kitty Boy. All right. God bless. Peace. Oh, last thing. For anybody, they might want to relay this to, this person here who sent this box is Lisa or Joseph. But what I've published and produced, is going to get a wider audience. I'm going to tell the whole world what happened to my dad and me, but especially my dad, because it's preaching. I'm going to preach to 4 billion people, half the planet, one way or another, about God. And my God knows truth. My God is love, life, joy, peace. All the things my dad got destroyed and deprived of in me, and depressed about, and leading to death. And in many ways, these people want to see me dead. I don't want to see anybody die. Jail, yeah, sure, like my dad said, someone belong in jail, but not me, not the innocent. But anyway, they don't like the way things are looking now. Well, prayerfully, there's going to be a bigger light on them at some point. I'm not stopping telling the truth in regards to my dad. I'm never going to stop loving him and my mom not till the day they die, but till the day I die. And I'm always going to try to and work to honor them and honor my God. So God bless, God forgive you, and to all the evil in you, not you personally, whomever might have it, go to hell.